What's your book's pitch? If you have multiple works, choose your favourite. I'm going to go for my new one, which I'm writing as we speak, which is maybe risky because it might change or whatever, but the pitch is: the bewilderness is a strange and colourful realm of beings who influence our everyday lives. The muses who give us inspiration, the manglers who spread misinformation, and the changers who travel through time interacting and editing the course of history. Eli is a changer, but he also has a family in the 21st century. When his job as a changer starts to drastically impact his domestic life, he must decide what matters to him most. So that's the pitch. I'm really enjoying it because I mentioned in another video that my favourite thing to write is like a real mixture of crazy fantastical elements, but also kind of a domestic, real life situation, because I really love writing about real life, real struggles, you know, having kids, having a relationship and stuff, but also I just can't resist throwing some magic in there as well. So I'm really, really enjoying that one, and hopefully you'll get to read it soon, because I'm going to self-publish it. It's going to be the first book I've ever really self-published, and certainly by the end of 2020 or the start of 2021, that should be on Amazon. And it will be the start of a series of 9 books. If you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? Probably... I'm not going to go with a proper pitch because it's just going to be too difficult, but I think it would be quite a dark book, but also quite light-hearted and fun. Kind of a real mixture of dark and light. And probably be something like a Neil Gaiman sort of book. You know, he has a lot of dark themes in there. You think of, I don't know, American Gods or Coraline or The Sandman graphic novels. They're kind of dark and mysterious and weird, but also just really fun and playful. And yeah, I'd want to be that kind of book. As for like a real pitch for, if I was a story, probably the pitch I just gave, to be honest, of my new book that I'm writing. I hope that wasn't a cop-out. What do I usually write? It's been a real mixture. I've probably finished 5 or 6 books in my life. They've always ranged between very kind of down-to-earth stuff. They usually have some kind of twist on them. I don't like the word supernatural really, but some kind of fantastical, magical twist on it. But I don't like to go full fantasy. I don't like it to be set in a completely fantastical world. I love reading that stuff, but I just don't like writing it. I like to have some kind of grounding, because I really do like writing about real things, real struggles. And of course you can do that in a completely fantastical novel, but I like to write about real relationships, and going to the pub and living in a house and having kids and stuff as well. And you can't maybe do that so much with fantasy, but I try to. I normally have an idea, something that makes this book a bit different, and then I'll take that and set it in a real life situation. That's what I like to write. That's what I usually write. I finished a book this year that was very real worldy. Didn't have fantastical elements at all. If anything, it kind of had slightly sci-fi elements, but when you think of sci-fi, you think of probably robots and spaceships and stuff. It wasn't quite that, but it was more sort of speculative. When I wonder what would happen if this happened in 10-15 years in the world. So it's one of those sorts of stories. What's something you'll never write? The instinct is to say there's nothing that I would never write, but I really can't see myself, and this isn't knocking the genres at all, but I really can't see myself writing. I get quite bored of any story that's got crime and murders and stuff in it. It almost seems like if you don't put at least some kind of murder in your book, it's not a story now. That seems to almost be what it's become, but I get so bored of okay, this person's died and there's crime going on and stuff. So probably I can't see myself ever writing like a real crime, mystery, or even a thriller. I know that sounds probably weird, but I just can't see myself writing something where it's really got a thrill and like, you know, that high octane energy on every single page. I like to kind of take a step back a bit, enjoy the journey, ponder on things. I still want it to be exciting and challenging and interesting, but I don't like the sort of adrenaline. I wanna write something that's interesting and challenging in a sort of maybe a more subtle way, or just a way that doesn't rely on explosions and guns and stuff like that. You probably only get so many books that you can write in your life. You know, it takes a long time. We've only got a certain amount of years. Every time I sit down, I just can't imagine myself thinking, right, okay, I'll write a crime book now. It's not going to happen. What's your goal for creating an author platform? Well, it's probably sparked from fear. I wrote a book this year. I've sent it off to agents. I'm getting the inevitable rejection emails back. And I was really proud of the book. I'm still proud of it. And I just had this vision of like just doing this forever. Writing a book, sending it off, getting rejections. Write another book, send it off, get rejections. And I'm kind of bored of that. I want to build some kind of following now. I'm ready to have some kind of audience, even if it's for now just other writers. I want to get my stuff out there a bit, and it's also to interact with other writers. But I tend to do that at kind of writing festivals and stuff like that. But it's been really nice to meet the people that I've met. But if I'm being truly honest, it really is to try and build a little bit of a following, just so that people can kind of... I'd hate to look back and think, why didn't I start a YouTube channel, or why didn't I get my stuff out there a bit more? It's a real fear of my own mortality. Is that a reason to start a YouTube channel? I'm going with it. What made you want to start writing? I've written forever, and I love it. I've always really loved it. I think it's probably the most creative thing you can possibly do. I'm biased, obviously. I like painting and writing music and stuff as well, but writing is like all I'm doing is putting these marks on a page. You know, all these shapes, letters, and from those scribbles, I'm hoping to conjure some kind of world inside your brain with characters who don't actually exist, and things that nobody ever actually said, and places that no one's ever been. That's amazing to me, and I remember being a kid and writing stories, and it just always felt, even at school, it was never work. It always really felt special, and I couldn't believe every time a teacher said, "Okay, guys, today we're going to write a story," I was just like, oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe my luck. This is amazing. This is brilliant. This is not work at all. I loved watching TV a lot as a kid. I think most of us probably did. And I loved watching the stories unfold. I wish I could say I loved reading as well. I did, but it was not so much as just watching TV, watching characters go through really tough challenges and seeing how they're going to overcome them, and to be able to sit down and basically, you know, write my own episode. It's weird, isn't it? It sounds like I'd rather be a film or TV writer, and that's not really the case. I would quite like to do that, but I much prefer the medium of like novels. To answer the question of what made me want to start, it was probably TV. What's your publishing path? Self-publishing, traditional publishing, hybrid? Haven't decided yet, or just write for fun? The goal was always traditional. I got closer than I was expecting. You know, I got an agent. I lost the agent. The goal, I would still, if someone said to me now, okay, we're going to traditionally publish your book, it would still be like a dream come true. Having said that, now, very recently, in the last month or so, I've decided 100% I'm going to self-publish, and we'll see what happens there. I'll probably aim to maybe become a hybrid author, but for now it's definitely my sights are on self-publishing, and I'm really excited about it. Does it feel like a defeat to some extent? Yeah, it actually does, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody who self-publishes. I think it's amazing, and I wouldn't be doing it unless I believed in it. But there is always that sort of feeling of, and it's wrong, but the feeling of if I was really good enough, I could have been traditionally published. But I received a comment recently on one of my videos that was really encouraging. It was sort of like, it was from Flash University for Authors in response to kind of my other works that have never been traditionally published. They could be great, but the agent already had a similar book or wasn't sure how to market it, and that could well be the case. And it's probably silly that it does feel like a defeat, but I guess it's because my plan was to be traditionally published, and it hasn't happened. So, but as I mentioned in one of my videos, a Ricky Gervais quote was, "I haven't failed, I just haven't finished yet," which I really love that. What content do you bring to the writing community? It's interesting. So I've got a good 100 topics for video ideas in a spreadsheet, and a lot of them are very like the writing fundamentals, things like how to write dialogue, how to create a character, how to do this and that. But the videos that I enjoy recording a lot more than that. I really love making the videos for writers who've maybe been writing a few years, but I'm offering a different perspective on something and offering some thoughts and opinions about something that you've maybe never thought of before. It's really interesting to make videos for people who aren't beginners. Not because I'm any kind of expert, but because when I make the ones for real first-time writers, it can feel a bit like work. I feel like I really have to plan those videos and sort of come up with a strategy and a list of bullet points of exactly how I'm going to help this beginner writer to write something. Whereas the other ones, I feel like I can ramble a bit more. I'm just offering my opinion. I'm offering something that I've tried and tested. And I don't tend to script my videos. It's much more like, it's much nicer making those sorts of videos because I can just let loose a bit more. What was the question again? What content do I want to bring? I also want to bring, I'm maybe going to review a few scenes that I think have been really great or really bad in other books. I'm going to maybe talk about some of my other past books and what I feel like I learnt from those and what they do well and what they do badly. I'm also going to maybe do some readings of some of my new work and all kinds of stuff, anything related to writing. I'm going to try and keep my videos between like 6 and 15 minutes. I know that writers are busy and there's a lot of content out there that's half an hour and beyond. I'm going to try and keep it a bit more digestible than that because you should be writing. What's your biggest writing struggle? Probably the feeling of... I love writing. I find... It's probably not a good thing to say, but I find writing easy and enjoyable. What I don't like is the feeling that I'm just not getting anywhere. I'm writing all this stuff and I just that feeling of like I'm never going to be able to do this for a living. I'm never going to gain a following. No one's ever going to read this stuff. I'm writing it and you're never going to read it. You're never going to... I'm never going to have any kind of readership. That's what I struggle with. In terms of struggling with the craft of writing itself, this is going to sound so arrogant, but almost nothing now. I've been writing for a long time, and maybe that's really bad that I don't struggle with anything. It means that there's all this other stuff that I don't know yet, and the reason I don't struggle with it is because I don't even know it exists, and it's because I'm a rubbish writer and I should know all this stuff. But I feel like you get to a point where you do still struggle. I do still struggle, but not for very long. I have a problem in the book, something that's not working, and because of how long I've been writing, it doesn't take too long before I sort of think, okay, I know why this isn't working. So I do still struggle with all the common struggles, how do I make this scene more compelling, how do I make this character more 3D, but you do get to a point where you can remedy it a lot quicker, and that makes me happy after all these years of struggling. What's your best writing skill? Wow. I like to think I can really bring a scene to life, so you can really picture it. You can really just smell and taste, and you can just really absorb the scene that I've created. You can picture everything, you can picture the people, and you know, I'm really hopefully conjuring a scene in your mind. That's what I like the most, and hopefully that's my skill, my biggest skill. If you've been writing for a while, what's your best tip? My best tip is to research the craft of writing. It's so tempting as authors to just write whatever we want, and that's fine, and that's a wonderful thing. But I feel like what's helped me the most is reading books about writing, watch videos about writing, and not just writing fiction, but writing screenplays and stuff like that, and watching any video that dissects a scene of a book or a film and tells you why certain things work and why certain things don't, and not being shy to learn rules and frameworks and to really hone the craft of story theory. Writing obviously is an art, and you can write whatever you want, of course you can, but I feel like if you learn what's been tried and tested, at least then you can learn to break that rule if you want. And just things like, you know, every character should want something. Ideally, every character should have some kind of flaw or weakness. You know, some beginner writers don't know those things. They might seem really obvious, but you still have to learn those things. You know, someone has to tell you that, or you have to realise it for yourself. And, you know, imagine a story where every character, you know, no characters wanted anything. It wouldn't work. And there's probably, you know, a million things about writing that I still don't know, but if you learn them, at least you're in a position where you can maybe ignore it if you don't like that particular bit of advice. So yeah, my biggest tip is learn as much as you can, absorb as much information as you can about story theory, and then choose what you want to take from it and what you don't. Are you looking for any new writers to follow, beaters, CPs, or other types of writer buddies? If so, tell us who you're looking for and connect with them in the comments. Anybody. I'm always up to meet new people. It's always really nice to speak to you all, and you've all been really welcoming, and it's been lovely. I've really, really enjoyed it so far. Is that it? That's all the questions? Wow, that went quick, I think. I don't know. We'll see how long it is once I've edited it. But yeah, that's been enjoyable. It's about time I did that. So I want to really thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider it. I'm going to make lots of videos about writing, about the craft, my opinions, my rules, my triumphs, my failures, and just my journey from starting this new book that I'm starting all the way to publication and beyond. And we'll see what happens. And you know, I'm enjoying doing this channel, so I'm planning on doing it for years. So it'll be fun to see how it kind of unfolds and stuff. Thank you to everybody who supported the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.